Treehouse Cowboys. I'm Dan O'Malley, along with Trey Trenholm and Raj Sharma. Collectively, we are the Treehouse Podcast, which you can hear Monday through Friday on treehouseonair.com and everywhere you get your podcasts. This is our second season of talking about our favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. Not that we know more than the experts, because we certainly don't, but we feel like we're more fun than your typical fans in laughing about our favorite team, because by God, if there's anything we have to do for our mental stability, it's laugh at our favorite team, because they really sometimes hurt us deeply. The good news is, though, yesterday they started out nice. 33-17, the Dallas Cowboys on the road beat the Cleveland Browns, which we feel good about, right? And especially when these two teams were evenly matched at the end of last season, therefore evenly matched going into this season. They both playoff teams last year, similar records, Cowboys 12 wins, Cleveland 11, both got trounced in their opening round of the playoffs, and then start the season, the Cowboys looked much better. So let's start today with our three big takeaways from the Cowboys beating the Browns 33-17. Raj, we'll start with you. What's your one big takeaway after watching that game yesterday?
I really enjoy Michael Parsons and his joy to want to hurt people. I think it's just so much fun to watch. He just brings a new dynamic to the game. Love it. I think you can also not pay him and he'll still do the exact same job. I think he just gets that joy. So yeah, that was my. They looked great. He looked even better. So big fan.
Is as hungry as he is. I think you bring up a great point, Raj. That's there are some types of football players that will do it absolutely for the love of the game, or like you're maybe pointing out, maybe just for the love of inflicting pain upon others. However,
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think he absolutely would do it for free, and I'm just glad that he's able to do it in a controlled chaos type situation, as opposed to just setting him free.
Yeah.
Onto the world. Trey, what's your big takeaway from yesterday's game?
No matter how bad I think the Dak contract is, Deshaun Watson's is worse.
For the Browns, not for Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
It's great for Deshaun.
Oh, yeah.
And terrible for his massage therapist. So other than the contract situation, any big takeaway from the actual game yesterday?
I kind of like the new kickoff rules. I didn't think I would, but they're intriguing. I think we're going to go from kickers with big legs, nothing but touchbacks, to finesse kicking.
Yeah, I did think it was interesting yesterday. I believe it was after Brandon Aubrey's 57-yard field goal.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back and then does the kickoff. He looked like he was just out on forgive the pun, a Sunday stroll. He just kind of and just floated it into the corner of the end zone. He looked so effortless compared to the field goal he had just, drilled through the uprights. I don't know all the big differences, or I'm sorry, I don't know all the fine detailed differences in the kickoff stuff yet, because I know that, help me through this, Trey. I know that you get one or two receivers back, and then all the blockers have to stay up front.
In the landing zone. The landing zone is the end zone to the 20-yard line.
Is that what they're actually calling it, the landing zone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is why I asked. The only thing that I've noticed is that in the preseason, all the blockers stay stationary until the ball is caught. And I didn't know if it was supposed to be two people back or if you had the option of one.
So they have to remain stationary until the ball is caught by someone in the landing zone, or just lands in the landing zone, or it goes into the end zone. So, and that's where, if you can finesse kick it to where it hits the ground inside the landing zone, then it's, game on. Okay. And if the ball lands inside the landing zone, it must be returned. There are no touchbacks.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I appreciate the clarification. And here's the other thing with that. Look, we have a whole season for NFL teams and coaches to try to figure out any sort of loopholes or any way that they can exploit the new kickoff rules. So I'm curious to see how that plays out through the season.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's kind of like a golf shot where if you're hitting the ball 100 yards, you have multiple ways to go at it, low, high, everything in between. And I think that's where kicking is going to get real interesting is, people that can drop it into a right spot. I think there's going to be a new premium on that.
And you're right. That'll make it actually interesting. It'll make kickoffs interesting again, for something to be done, some type of strategy behind it other than just kicking it out the back of the end zone and it being a nothing play.
Mm-hmm.
My big takeaway from this game is I was frightened and a little bit put at ease by rookie left tackle Tyler Guyton, because early on, it looked like he was about to be completely owned all day by 2023 Defensive Player of the Year from the Browns, Myles Garrett. He got the strip sack early in the game. But really, for the most part, while he was a factor, it didn't affect the outcome. So I'm left with the big takeaway that I don't understand how you pay Dak $240 million and you let your Pro Bowl, eventual Ring of Honor, Hall of Fame left tackle walk in the offseason. That's my big takeaway, is have that massive investment in your quarterback, in your franchise quarterback, and you rest that contract on the shoulders of a rookie. My big takeaway is still wondering what's going to happen to Dak's blind side with no Tyron Smith.
Yeah, Nikki asked a great question. She's like, do you think, with how much money he's getting, that line is going to like step up and protect him? And I'm like, with that much money involved, you automatically kind of have to.
Yes.
And so when in the beginning of the game, when I saw what you were saying, is like that breach was really easy in the very beginning, and I was like, man, this is the guy. If he gets hurt, if his foot falls off again, like if whatever it is, like that line has to step up now. So it's an interesting call. Like I don't know again, like how you let the Hall of Famer go, and put your quarterback with a rookie. Like that's scary.
And at least by the end of the game, I felt okay by it, mainly because Dak came out of it not dead.
Yeah, he didn't get hurt. So
let's use that to segue into our second big point of yesterday's game. Dak Prescott, news came out right before the game. He signs a $240 million deal, 231 of which is guaranteed, $80 million up front in the form of a signing bonus. I also recall just a week or two ago where Jerry Jones said in an interview that who the F else is going to sign all these contracts? Well, dude, all you're doing is just signing on a dotted line. It doesn't sound like there's any hardcore negotiating going on. They're just showing up. The agents are just showing up with a blank check, and you're just signing it like, yeah, I'm all in. So I don't understand what's so difficult about handing your star players all the money in the world. That doesn't seem super complicated to me. A monkey could do that, and some would argue that one is. So my takeaway from Dak's contract, my question for you guys, $240 million deal. In general, and based on what you saw yesterday, is Dak worth it, Trey?
No, he's not. And for a number of reasons. Number one, and to Raj's first point, how are you going to sign Micah Parsons? And I put a big premium on him. Mm-hmm. My biggest thing is Jerry is in a very unique position because unlike a lot of teams, he doesn't have to worry about his team's popularity. Win or lose, they remain popular. So I look at, what could he have got had he had the balls to trade Dak? He could have gotten a huge amount of draft picks. And I think that's kind of the way you build an NFL team these days is, young talent that you sign on rookie contracts along with some, really good veteran players. And then, you win. And then I think, it's a 5-7 year deal. Then you start trading off your pieces again, get, draft picks and young talent and recycle. Because the Chiefs are doing it, but building a dynasty these days is virtually impossible, where I think it's a lot easier, at least on paper, that, you could build a winning championship team every 5 to 7 years.
I think you're right. I think it kind of boils down to, in the NFL, there's two strategies to go about winning and to go about getting a Super Bowl. One is, like you're saying, with the new rookie deals, it's the shampoo strategy. Rinse, wash, repeat. Rinse, wash, repeat. And then there's the Cowboys strategy, which hasn't worked in almost 30 years, which is just pay all your favorite guys anything they want and see what happens, and occasionally try to sneak in a free agent if you're lucky.
Yeah, I think to try to recreate that the triplets to have that. I think that's in his head. I think that's in Jerry Jones's head. Is I can buy that again, and that was a once in a lifetime thing. So I think he just keeps trying to recreate that magic, and it doesn't work.
That was also pre-salary cap.
Mhm.
Yes, which he also helped facilitate.
Yeah, he was the architect of it.
Yeah. So I think he's trying to every year, 2 years, whatever, put those guys in a position where they can be the next. Well, these are the next triplets. These are going to be the next 3 Super Bowl wins, whatever it is, and it just doesn't.
Well, let's be honest. Jerry's not getting any younger. He's got to be realizing, he wants to win one before he dies. And right. I don't think he's thinking long term right now.
The longest term he's thinking of was signing Dak to that 4-year deal. And I think somewhere in one of the stories I saw, he said something to the effect that Dak will be my last quarterback.
Wow, okay.
And I might be paraphrasing that, or I might just be inserting that in there a little bit, but I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. Luckily, we're not held to some sort of high journalistic standard in here. So you got Dak, $240 million. Raj, do you think he's worth it?
No. I'm with Trey on this one. Like, they could have.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they could have, like he said, just gotten so much more value. Instead of just is he the one who takes us to the Super Bowl? I don't see it. But I could be wrong. I wouldn't pay that kind of money. But I think if you could have traded him for $240 million worth of other players, I think you would have a better team.
Well, my problem with Dak is his decision making in big games has always been suspect.
Yes.
And, like I said, any other team, I understand the move because, Dak is going to get you probably 10, 12 wins a season.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Which for most NFL franchises, hey, that's a difference maker. That's going to put, butts in seats and make your team profitable. Mm-hmm. Jerry doesn't have to worry about that. And that's probably the most interesting thing.
Yeah. I think they do $1 billion a year just in merch. In Cowboys, like jerseys and hat sales globally. I think they're almost $1 billion a year.
I believe it just came out that the Cowboys are the first team to cross the $10 billion threshold of value.
Yeah. And for what he paid for the team and what he built, I understand. Like he had, I think, a solid plan in the beginning, and he hasn't adjusted the formula. That's the only thing that I see as the hiccup.
And that's something that everyone as a Cowboys fan has noticed. And that's something that everyone who just pays attention to the NFL has noticed, which is what's the constant with the Cowboys? Jerry Jones. What's the other constant with the Cowboys? Disappointment. I mean, you got to link the two, don't you? That's the common denominators.
Yeah. But he also said that there's no better general manager than him.
You know what? We all like to think we're the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Or that no one can do our job better than us. The reality is most of us have the general understanding and operate from a healthy point of view, which is there's always someone better. And this is actually the mentality that the players have to have. There's always going to be someone better.
Yeah.
Your job and your time in this league is finite. It is not going to be forever. Unlike Jerry Jones, someone's going to take your job inevitably. The only way Jerry Jones is going to lose his job is when he dies. So we're all left as Cowboys fans wondering, well, when he said going into the offseason, he's going to be all in, and then everything through the offseason into the beginning of this season is showing that it feels like a lot of the same.
Yeah.
Are your expectations any different based on the game yesterday?
No.
Trey?
No, I wish they were, but I mean,
And therein lies the other reality. You mentioned Cowboys, $1 billion in merch and all these things. There were a couple of photos circulating at the beginning of training camp showing not as much crowd interest. Not as many people were there watching training camp at Oxnard that have in years past. So is there the possibility that interest in the Cowboys is waning because of years of disappointment? I say yes. I wasn't nearly as excited going into the game yesterday. I was happy that they won. But I've been through this cycle of abuse before, which is they look good in the regular season, and then they get to the postseason and they lay a big turd in the middle of the field.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
I bought new gear. I bought new shirts and hats and stuff for the season.
Cowboy stuff or Chiefs stuff?
Cowboy stuff.
Okay.
I bought a bunch of new gear. Excited because they put out. I mean, you got to give them credit for where they are with merch. Like they put out some great stuff. I buy it. I'll do it every year, I'm sure. But I don't.
Is that because you set fire to the other stuff at the end of the previous year?
I think I just throw it away. I'm like, it is that disappointment. Like this is our year. Every year's our year. So yeah. I'll still be that guy who's like, we're going this year, Super Bowl this year.
Trey.
We're not, but I'll say
okay.
it.
I mean, the other part of yesterday is it's the Browns, and you can try to sell me that the Browns are good, but I'm not buying.
I tried to set it up at the beginning of the show saying, look, these teams were evenly matched at the end of last year going into yesterday. Even Vegas had Cleveland a 2.5-point favorite, I believe, at kickoff. Now, granted, they usually have like a 2-point or 3-point, whatever home field advantage built in. So that would inevitably, I guess, essentially make that game a pick 'em as far as Vegas was concerned.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is sort of they were a playoff team. The Cowboys were a playoff team, and the Cowboys blew them out. But were you really impressed by it?
They're still the Browns. Like it's still Cleveland. Like, if we would have lost to, I would have given them. I would have thrown away the new stuff I just bought. I would have thrown away yesterday if we would have lost to Cleveland.
All right, let me before we go into our final topic. I wondered this all week going into the matchup Cowboys versus Browns. The Browns named after what's the original? Aren't they named after their original owner?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you think Jerry Jones looks at the Browns and says, "Man, had I just gotten in sooner, I could have named these the Dallas Joneses"?
So literally, we would be keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah,
that's what would be.
I'm
doing.
serious. Had Jerry not purchased the Cowboys for $140 million in 1989, if he had the opportunity to go back in time at the same time that the Browns were started, and he could start the Dallas fill in the blanks, do you think he would have named it the Joneses?
I've met him once. I think he would have named it the Johnny Walkers.
And his preferred flavor of Johnny Walker would match up with the color scheme of the Cowboys.
Yeah, he does like the blue label. Yes.
Yeah.
So it would either way. It would be the Dallas Johnny Walker Blues.
All right. Finally today, last week going into week 1, a study was done about the most hated team in the NFL. And for years, it's been the Dallas Cowboys. But there's good news. The Dallas Cowboys are no longer the most hated team in the NFL, according to new social media analysis. The report put together by betonline.ag took a look at negative posts on Twitter in the last 30 days. I bet they had to sift through a lot of crap to find the Cowboys negativity because there's a lot of hate on that in general. The report found the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs took the top spot on the list as the most hated team in the NFL, passing the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys finished second in this report. If you're curious, Eagles finished third. Patriots were on there as well. They were ninth on the list. So you've got The Chiefs have passed the Cowboys as the most hated team in the NFL. Trey?
Fear not, Cowboys fans. They will be back on top of that list. Chiefs are just really overexposed right now. Everyone hates the champion, and you got the Taylor Swift factor. We will be back. At least there is one thing we will always be champion of. That will be it.
And speaking of the Chiefs being overexposed, around the same time that they were named as the league's most hated team, it was also announced that the Hallmark Channel has taken a page out of the storybook that is the Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, coming up with a Hallmark Christmas movie seemingly ripped from the headlines of a player and a starlet and a whirlwind romance coming to the Hallmark Christmas lineup this winter. And
who plays the Taylor the role, and who plays the Kelce?
It's Hallmark. It's people's names you've never really heard of. I'll see if I can find the info for you.
I just is Tori Spelling involved? Or is she just one like always there's a murder or something?
I mean, but who's because usually it's the big city pop singer that would go back to her small hometown and meet the unassuming librarian. I don't know how they spin this one.
No, it's always the boyfriend from high school that she broke up with to become the pop star, and he's single, she's single. It all works out. It's Sweet Home Alabama. I get it.
You know what? It kind of is. I'm trying to find the post, the original post. There it is. Save the date for kickoff. This is from the Hallmark Channel. Save the date for kickoff. Holiday touchdown, a Kansas City Chiefs love story, starring Tyler Hines and Hunter King. One of those two is the female, one of those two is the male, and honest to God, based on those names, I don't know which is which. I don't think it really matters.
Raj, you can go and say it.
I'll let you take the lead on this one, buddy.
Clearly, they're both white.
Well, if the names weren't any indicator, the fact that it's on the Hallmark Channel is usually a pretty big clue.
Yeah, they usually have one of us in a movie every now and again. So you just never know. But yeah.
A Kansas City Chiefs love story starring Tyler Hines and Hunter King premieres Saturday, November 30th at 8/7 Central on Hallmark Channel as part of the Countdown to Christmas. And isn't this sweet? Not only do the Chiefs pass the Cowboys as the most hated team in the NFL, but the Chiefs are now making mid-season Christmas movies. That's how successful they are. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are still making postseason snuff films.
It's always the North 40. Is that what we're doing? Is that all we're ever going to do? Like they have the Hallmark Channel. We have Debbie Does Dallas. Like it just depends on.
That really is a tale of two franchises, isn't it?
Well, good for the Chiefs. I can't wait to not see this movie. You'll watch it for sure, Dan. Like you watch everything. So, I mean, you will.
Look, I hate that you said it, and I hate that it's true. I'm just not sure which one I hate more, you or myself.
You just have to let us know how the movie is.
I'll write you up a full review. How about that? We'll have that be a special segment on that week's The Treehouse Cowboys. How about that? We'll do a review of the Hallmark movie. What was it? The Kansas City Chiefs love story. Oh, I'm sorry. A Kansas City Chiefs love story. So there might be more somewhere.
I can just see you now, curled up by the fire with your pumpkin spice latte.
In my Uggs. You know what? In the indelible words of Dak Prescott, home. Week 1 of the Treehouse Cowboys in the books. We will see you next week for week 2, Cowboys versus Saints. TreehouseOnAir.com.